Good morning, Redbrook. Welcome back. Today is Thursday, the 2nd of April 2020, and we've got some more exciting learning planned for you today. So let's have a look at our brain teaser from yesterday before we get started. So yesterday I left you with a maths challenge using only addition. How can you use 8 8s to get the number 1000? Thank you so much to everybody who emailed in with our brain teaser answer. You managed to successfully work out that if you add 888 and 88 and then 8 and 8 and 8, you will get to the number 1000. Look out for another brain teaser coming at the end of this video, but well done to everybody who managed to work that one out today. So, moving on to our timetable this morning, we're going to start off with our maths fluency again. We're going to move on and practice those spellings ready for that test on Friday. We're going to do some reading today, and we're going to have a look at a fable as part of our reading, so that helps us then with our writing, and then another brain teaser for you right at the end. So, having a look to start with at our maths fluency. You've been doing absolutely brilliantly with these this week. You're finding them nice and easy, getting super confident and very, very fast. I know Miss Cunnington and Miss Foster have to let me know how fast you are able to do these. So, without further ado, here is your maths fluency for today. Pause the video, do them as quickly as you can, and then come back to me when you're ready for the answers. Pause now. Brilliant, welcome back. I hope you managed to complete all of the different sections today. You've got A, B, C, D, E and F. And if you're ready for the answers, stay with me. If not, pause if you need a little bit more time. So, answers for today. Let's have a look at them a section at a time. So we're looking at those numbers that make 20. This one should have been super fast. A 7 and 13 making our number bond of 20. The second section today, section B, Daffyd has these coins. 20, 20 and 5. How much money does he have altogether? He's got 45 pence. If he spends 13p, we're going to do 45, take away 13, and it's going to leave us with the answer of 32 pence. Section C this morning. What is the difference between the difference between the two numbers is 10. One number is 60. The other number could be 70, or it could be 10 the other way, and it could be 50. Hopefully you managed to work that one out. Here we've got another one in terms of working out some money. So £1 minus 60p would leave me with 40p. So I needed to add 10p onto that to be able to get 50p at the end. Okay, this one wanted you to insert the right symbols to make the number sentences true. So hopefully you worked out then that 63 minus 48 equals 15. And you could work out a different number sentence which had the equals at the beginning, which was 63 equals 48, add 15. Our final one then for today is Nia buys 1 ice cream and 2 chocolate bars. How much does she pay altogether? So 1 ice cream, 2 chocolate bars, a quick sum there to 250p is going to make £2. Add an ice cream, £1.35, you're going to get your answer of £2.35. I expect you all to have been super, super fast today, and hopefully I can't wait to see your scores later. So moving on, we are going to now have a little look at our spelling for this week. So you'll remember yesterday I told you that we were looking at the sound. So country, young, touch, and the being made by an O and a U, okay? So we've been having a little look at this list of spellings. This is the list that you are going to be tested on Friday, tomorrow. So what I'd like you to do for me, again, is do a look, cover, write and check. Look at the word on your screen, copy it down into your book, and then look at it, cover it up, write it, and then check to see if your spelling is correct. If you'd like some extra practice with these words before tomorrow's spelling test, you can always pause the video here. You're going to go onto a website called Spelling Frame, and you're looking for that O and U making the sound, and there's lots and lots of little games and activities you can play on there to help you with your spelling. So for now, pause the video and complete your look, cover, write and check for these 10 spellings. Good luck! Brilliant. So I hope that you've managed to get your spellings completed and you managed to spell lots of them correctly. When we come back to spellings tomorrow, we're going to be doing a test on our spellings. So make sure that you know them before tomorrow and use the Spelling Frame website if you want some extra practice. So moving on now, we're going to have a look at our reading for today. So for the reading today, I have chosen for you one of Aesop's fables. So a different story than ones you were looking at yesterday in your writing, but hopefully one that will help us when we come to do our writing today. So I'm going to read it through with you this time because the font's a little bit small. And then we're going to go through and you're going to have a go at answering some questions for me. So this text is called The Sheep and the Dogs. And it goes like this. A shepherd was walking amongst his sheep one day, checking all was well with them and with his trusty dogs by his side. Two of the sheep stood out a little from the rest of the flock and began speaking to the shepherd. "We find your treatment of us very odd and indeed a little unfair," the one sheep began. "Yes, and we gave you wool and milk and lambs, but all you give us in exchange is grass, and we have to look after ourselves," added the other sheep. The shepherd scratched his head, not quite sure what to make of this complaint. "And then we see you treating those dogs quite differently," continued the first sheep. "As far as we can see, they do nothing at all, yet you share your lunch with them." The dogs sat up and barked at the silly sheep. "Do nothing at all? Do nothing at all," one said. "What do you mean we do nothing at all?" said the other. "Why, you ridiculous creatures, you wouldn't be here if it wasn't for us. Thieves would steal you, wolves would eat you," said the first dog. "In fact," said both dogs together, "if we were not here, you would be too terrified even to come out and graze." The sheep looked foolish at each other foolishly, and then turned quietly and walked back to join the rest of the flock. For the dogs were quite right, and the sheep were never heard to make a complaint ever again. Be grateful for what you have, instead of being jealous of what someone else possesses. So, having a little think about that fable, can you pause the video now and answer these two questions? So what do you think the moral of the story is? And how do you know that the sheep in the story were jealous of the dogs? Pause now. Okay, welcome back everybody. Hopefully you've had time to write down your answers to those questions using those nice red starting sentences to make sure we've got a lovely sentence for our answers. The next two questions for this text are, in the first paragraph, this little bit here, right at the top, the first paragraph, which word tells us that the good characters in this fable are going to be the dogs? So it's looking for one single word to fill into that red sentence. Then, number 4, how did the shepherd feel after the sheep's complaints, and how do you know this? You're going to be looking really carefully in this section for the answer to that one. So have a little think. The shepherd feels, after the sheep's complaint, and I know this because. Pause the video, write down your answers for those two questions. Fantastic. Hopefully you've got a nice 2 sentences for those questions. And then our final question for this text is about the reading that you did yesterday. So, is this fable similar to the other fables you read yesterday, and how? Okay, so think about the stories: The Boy Who Cried Wolf, The Lion and the Mouse, The Hare and the Tortoise. How are these similar to that? How is this story similar to that one? Pause here and write down your answer. Thank you so much for having a really good go at those. We're going to go through the answers now. So, the first question asked you what the moral of the story was. So, the moral of this story is to be grateful for what you have. If you remember the text, it was the bold bit at the bottom that told us what the moral of the story was. The second question asked us how we knew the sheep in the story were jealous. So what I spotted, that the sheep were jealous because it says that the sheep complained that he treated the dogs differently, even though they didn't do anything. They were complaining that the dogs didn't do anything at all. Question 3 asked us to find that word that told us that the dogs were the good characters. And the word that I spotted, and I hope you spotted too, was the word trusty. He called them trusty dogs. So the word trusty tells us that the dogs are the good characters. Question number 4. How did the shepherd feel after the sheep's complaints, and how do you know this? So this was the answer. The shepherd feels confused after the sheep's complaints because it says the shepherd scratches his head. He's a bit confused. He doesn't quite know what's going on. And then I spotted some similarities between this fable and the other fables that we'd read. So I found that they were the same because they had a moral and they included animals. Did you find the same similarities, or did you spot something different? Absolutely super. Well done, guys. You're working really, really hard this morning. We're going to move on now and we're going to have a look at our writing for the day. So our writing today carries on from yesterday when we were starting to look at some different Aesop's fables. So this morning's writing is all about the fable of the lion and the mouse. So we know that it's a fable. We know that it's a story. What's the purpose of a story? When we write a story for our audience, what are we trying to get them to do with it? Have a little think. What's the purpose of a story? Fantastic. You're absolutely right. It's to engage our reader. It's to enthrall our reader, and sometimes it's even to excite our reader so that they're getting excited with the story as well. So we're going to have a little look at this text together, and I'm going to read it out to you. And whilst I'm reading, what I want you to do is in your brain, get thinking about how the author engages and enthralls you in this story. And which parts of the story do you really like? Because we're going to need that when we come to write our own stories later on in the week. So let's have a read together. See if you can read along with me. Let's do some choral reading together. In the scorching heat of the savannah, a small mouse crept quietly up to a lion. The mouse carefully tiptoed around the lion's long, thick tail and warily made his way round in front of the lion. As the mouse slowly looked upwards, he first saw the lion's great thick mane, which brightly glistened in the sunlight. Then he spotted his long curly whiskers that forked out from either cheek like razor-sharp swords. Suddenly, the mouse was shocked when he heard a rumbling noise coming from the lion's belly. But it wasn't hunger, because the lion was asleep. With this, the mouse stood up on its hind legs, stretched out his tail and lifted his head up high. Since he's sleeping, I'll climb over this beast, thought the mouse. He'll never know I'm here. With that, the brave little mouse quickly scrambled up onto the lion's tail, ran across its back and slid down its leg and jumped off its paw. Ha! Thought the mouse as he almost hit the ground. But he hadn't realised that the lion had awoken. Ferociously, the lion fired out his enormous claws and aggressively grabbed the mouse by its tail. Please, squeaked the mouse, let me go and I'll come back and help you someday. The lion laughed loudly. You are so small. How could you ever help me? The colour drained from the mouse's face and his tiny heart raced in his ribcage. Why had he been so stupid to try and climb over a sleeping lion? Please, one day I'll be able to help you. I am sorry, squeaked the mouse again. With this, the lion felt another rumble of laughter roaring through his belly. He laughed so hard that he actually had to hold his belly. As soon as he did, the mouse nervously leapt to the boiling hot floor and scampered away as quickly as he could. The very next day, 2 hunters who had been hunting in the area for weeks came to the jungle in search of a prize catch. Unluckily for the lion, they were after him and they tracked him to his lair, which was slightly hidden between a collection of tall trees. As the sun began to set and the stars twinkled in the clear night sky, the 2 hunters silently planned how they would set up a snare right outside the entrance of the lair. Sneakily, they crept to the lion's lair, set up a huge rope snare and eagerly waited for the lion to return. When the lion came home that night, he stepped into the trap. He roared, he wept, but he couldn't pull himself free. From a short distance away, the mouse heard the lion's pitiful roar and scurried back to help him. Before he could consider the potential danger, the mice eyed the trap and noticed the one thick rope that held it together. She began nibbling and nibbling until the rope broke in half. With its immense strength, the lion was able to shake off the other ropes that held him tight. He stood up free again. The lion turned to the mouse and said, "Dear friend, I was foolish to laugh at you for being so small. You helped me by saving my life after all." And from that day on, the two animals were the firmest of friends. Well, I really hope you enjoyed that story, and I hope that it was able to enthrall and engage and entertain you as the reader. So what I'd like you to do now is pause the video and answer the two questions that are on your screen. You can always scoot back in the text in the video to be able to find your evidence if you want to. So, how has the author enthralled or engaged you? What techniques have they used? What things have you spotted that you've been learning about with Miss Cunnington and Miss Foster? And as a reader, which part of you, the story, really appeals to you? So if you were going to highlight something that really appealed to you as a reader, what would you highlight? So scoot back in the video and read the text again if you want to, but write down your answers. So pause now and write down the answers to those two questions. Fantastic. I hope you were able to identify something in that text that really engaged you as a reader. So, what did I spot? So I just had a look at the very first part of the text, and I spotted loads and loads of things that the author had done to try and engage me, to enthrall me in his text. So what I found was some expanded noun phrases. I wonder if you spotted these too. So a lion's long, thick tail. Lots and lots of those in there to really help put that picture into my brain. There's another one down here, look. Curly whiskers that forked out from either cheek like razor sharp swords. That one I really liked because it really gave me a sense of what was happening and I could really see that lion coming to life. Another thing you might have noticed that I hope engaged you was there is a little bit of speech, some dialogue I've highlighted here in red, that told you what the characters were saying. And that breaks up the story. So it's not just the author telling the story, but the animals are talking as well. I'm also hoping you might have spotted some adverbs. There were lots and lots of these in the text, and lots of them were used at the front. So I know at year 4 you've been working on your fronted adverbials, so this might be something that you want to have a little look at. But there were lots and lots of adverbs to tell us how the lion was behaving or how the mouse was behaving. So here we've got aggressively for the lion, we've got ferociously for the lion, and then for our mouse we've got warily, which means he was a bit worried, he was a bit unsure, so he warily and carefully tiptoed. Now those words tell me a little bit about the characters, don't they? Because if the mouse is nervous and careful, he's warily and carefully doing things, and our contrasting character, the one that's very different, is ferociously and aggressively, again that brings the character to life. And I hope that you were able to find some nice things in the text as well that you enjoyed reading as a reader. So, what do I want you to do with all of this today? So today's writing task is to plan our fable. Tomorrow we're going to be doing our writing of our fable story. And what I would like you to do within this, I'll just move that out of the way, is create yourself in your exercise book a table. And this table is going to help you to plan your story. So first of all, you're going to think about the moral of your story. So it says there, the moral is the message that we want the person reading our story to learn. Now I've given you some morals. Slow and steady wins the race. If you lie, people might not believe you when you tell the truth. No one is too small to help someone bigger. These are the morals that we've been looking for in the stories that we've been reading. So you could choose to do one of those morals and write a different story about it. Or if there's something else you'd really like to teach other people, maybe it's being kind to friends you want to bring out. Maybe it's about perseverance and resilience. Maybe you could use one of our learner values. You could make up your own moral, but I want you to write down in this box in your table the moral, the message that you want to share for your reader. Okay? Next, I want you to think about where your fable is set. So remembering that all of our fables so far have been set outside in the wild. They've been on a farm, they've been in the jungle, we've had one in a desert, we've had one in the woods. Where are you going to set your fable? And make yourself some notes here to really help you with your writing tomorrow about what that setting looks like. Remember, as an author, we're trying to create those pictures so that people who haven't got any pictures in the books can really see what's happening in our story. So really think of some lovely, nice expanded noun phrases, some adjectives, some describing phrases to bring that setting to life. Next, I want you to pick your characters. Now, all of the stories that we've been looking at really have been about animals. So I want you to choose some animals to be in your story. And remember, these characters need to link back to the moral that you're trying to show. So if we were doing slow and steady wins the race, we're going to have a slow animal and a fast animal. So instead of having a tortoise and a hare, what you might have is a cheetah and a sloth. Maybe you could change your story that way. So think about your characters and again, write down their main characteristics. So are they going to be slow? Are they going to be clever? Are they going to be foolish? Are they going to be bad characters? Write that all down in your characters box. Next, move on and have a look at your problem. So all of our fables have a problem that needs to be solved. That's when we teach people the lesson. So what's going to go wrong for our characters so that we can learn the right way for it to happen. So write down some notes about your problem. And then again, what happens at the end of your fable? How does that become a solution? So if you think about the fable that we've just read, our problem was that the lion was trapped, and our solution there was that the mouse, who owed him a favour, came back to help him. So what I want you to do now is pause the video, please, and then I would like you, please, to create that table in your exercise book so that you can plan your story ready for tomorrow. So pause now and have a go at planning your story. Okay, brilliant. I hope you've got some brilliant ideas for your story tomorrow. And I know Miss Cunnington and Miss Foster are very much waiting to hear your stories when you finish them tomorrow. So I can't wait to see those in action when we get around to our writing tomorrow. So, last little bits from me today is don't forget your online challenges, Times Table Rockstars. We've got a girls and boys battle going on at the moment. Make sure you're doing your bit for your team. Remember, if you've been reading outside of these sessions, to go on and do your book quizzes. We're really looking forward to seeing how you're getting on with your reading outside of school. And then it's spelling test day tomorrow, so make sure you're practicing your spellings using that Spelling Frame website. Final bit from me then, to help you with your last bit of learning, is to leave you with our brain teaser today. So get your thinking caps on for this one and read it really, really carefully is my tip. So a farmer has 19 sheep on his land. One day a big storm hits and all but 7 run away. How many sheep does the farmer have left? Once you've had a little think, if you think you know the answer, make sure that you email it to Miss Cunnington and Miss Foster so that they can see how many people have got it right today. That's all of your learning from me today. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Really looking forward to carrying on with your learning tomorrow and seeing what those stories look like. But in the meantime, don't forget your connected curriculum menus and have a wonderful day. Thanks for learning with us. Bye, guys.